Well, we didn't know that she had to be kind of careful about being friends with the other girls because something might slip.
She never told us anything.
No,
really.
no, you never complained or anything.
Told us anything about anything that was going wrong.
My parents moved back to the States, and when they wanted to come and visit, they would notify me and say, we want to come by and see you.
We were living at that time in California.
In a house that has everything.
Sandy and I were living in the same house with Priscilla and Elvis.
Well, I mean, there was so much shuffling around and so much thought that had to go into it because obviously I was staying with Elvis. And I told Charlie, I said, Charlie, my parents are coming to see me and I need your room. So that when my parents came, you know, I'd say, and this is my room, you know, and they'd look around and they'd go, oh, you know, oh, that's really nice. It's really nice. Where does Elvis stay? You know, I go, oh, he's way back in the other room. And I'd look over and I'd say, and this is Sandy's room. So it looked like it wasn't just me, the only girl staying at the house. Sometimes I wonder where my parents were, how naive they were, but they so wanted to believe that this was the way it was.
You know, one of the things, remember back in the 50s that maybe a lot of people forget today, but in the movies, were married couples that would have dozens of children, couldn't sleep in a bedroom unless it had twin beds.
Oh, right, yeah.
So things have changed one whole heck of a lot.
It was always trying to outmaneuver what they were going to do or what they were going to see. I mean, there were so many more things. Elvis's sleeping pills on the side table. They were very much an American family. They could not get the lifestyle of Elvis Presley. Not too many people did.
Make it fun it takes to. Oh, yes, I got to do what I got to do, and I don't know what other do with that.
When you come into Elvis's environment, which is a very protective environment, and everyone was protective of him, and it wasn't like he allowed a lot of people to come into his space. You come in right away knowing that nobody says anything, nobody knows anything. What you do is very private. You don't share what we do with anybody, nothing. I mean, it was like a closed set.
You know, it was a real kind of honor thing to be part of that group, and I kept it real quiet. And I think most of the people that were part of that felt that way. It was almost a protection for Elvis. It was like this was his only private thing that he got to do. He would come to Memphis or be with his friends and whatever.
I think my favorite times were late at night. Elvis would be in bed and we'd be sitting on the floor and we'd be talking away and the TV was going in the background. Yeah. I was like, oh, this is really neat, you know. Yeah. So those are my favorite times. I think everybody else had gone, and just sort of being in that inner sanctum with you guys.
It was a way of life for us. It was a way of life where you never said anything. You never leaked anything. If there was any leaking, who did it? Elvis himself. The joke was, if you wanted anything known, tell Elvis it was a secret. And then, you know, it would get out all over the place. And then he would find out, he would wonder who did it, and he'd blame it on everybody else, you know, but not him.
I can't conceal a tender feeling.
And I always say there was a very different side to Elvis that even the boys didn't know. You know, behind closed doors. And I think the thing that was so endearing about him is that he was like a child. He was like a little boy. He brought the mother out in you. You wanted to mother him. And yet, he was a little boy, and he could make you feel like a child. You know, we had this wonderful baby talk that he grew up with. And we would be in our own world, totally in our own world. Again, this is away from everybody. And I think that brings so much out of a woman when a man can become that vulnerable and let all of his defenses down. And very few people really got to see Elvis that way. And those are the times that I probably remember the most, and was a wonderful emotional attachment or bonding with him. And you couldn't help but fall in love with him.
I told Elvis and Priscilla that Sandy and I were going to get married. And I just remember a little look between the two of them. And about 6, 7 weeks later, they got married.
Ready, set, go and go. I got a gal that I love so. Ready to rock and roll. Going to become my sweetie pie. She's my rock and roll baby. She's out ready to rock and roll.
You know, Dad, there's a rumor that you forced Elvis, that you called Elvis and you forced him or basically put him on the line.
Yeah, I forced Elvis to.
I can imagine that myself. There's no way.
Well, there is a rumor out there that Colonel Bowyer called and told Elvis, gave him an ultimatum, you either marry my daughter or that's it. Yeah, now there is that rumor. I just want to make sure.
I know about the rumor, but or what? What was I going to do?
I was going to call the Marines. Well, he always reassured us that everything was on the up and up and all that. And he always seemed very sincere.
He showed us the ring that he was going to give to you.
He was good to you and Dad. He was really good to you. He really kept you informed.
No, we loved Elvis. There was no question about that. He was a true son-in-law.
Well, it was around Christmas, and Elvis was really, really excited that night, and very enthusiastic, and I thought that it was basically because he always loved giving gifts, and it was a really happy time. And he had something behind his back. He wouldn't let me see. He goes, okay, I want you to close your eyes. And he got on his knees, and he says, I want you to open this. And then I open up the box, and it was this beautiful, beautiful engagement ring and wedding band and a ring with diamonds all over. And I was absolutely shocked. You know, it's time for us to get married, he said, you know, and it was like just sweetness all over. And we hugged, and when I came down, he was showing my hand to everybody. And he was just thrilled and really happy. And that's when we basically made our announcement that night.
We were happy for you. We were excited about you.
Well, it was about time, right?
Yes, that's, you could say that.
Yeah. But 21 was a good age to get married.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. I think.
Oh, yeah, you were old. You were on your way to becoming an old maid, or you didn't have to pretty soon.
That's true.
No, not really.
In Las Vegas, it's wedding bells for the man who practically invented rock and roll, Elvis Presley, and Priscilla Beaulieu, a friend of 8 years standing. The 32-year-old Mississippi boy who started a new style of singing gives his bride a 20-carat diamond ring. Now more a movie than a recording star, Elvis met Priscilla when he was a GI in Germany and she, the daughter of a lieutenant colonel, was a high school girl. It's the first marriage for both.
Oh my gosh, this was, you know, the best kept secret. I mean, this has been planned for a while. Obviously, back in those days, you know, I wasn't making all their arrangements, thank goodness. You know, it all had to be properly planned because it was, you know, a huge, you know, a secret. And we didn't want this out because we didn't want this to turn out to be a, you know, a circus.
Even us in the house, I don't think we knew the exact plans. I thought we were going somewhere, but I didn't know, and I didn't know when.
I told my mother that no one was to know, and she didn't tell my brother or my sister, the older brother and sister, where they were coming. Basically, just that we were going to go out and get dressed, and you're going to wear a party dress with gloves, and my sister had no idea what was going on. She was going, gloves, party, it's not Easter.
All I know is I went shopping for a dress. She said, you know what, it's time, we need to go shopping for a dress. And it was like, what for? She goes, I think you just need to have a dress in your wardrobe, a new dress.
Anyway, she found out just as they were actually going to the airport that it was for a wedding.
The day we leave, we wake up and she said, okay, we're going, your sister's getting married. So she's getting married in Las Vegas. We didn't want to tell you earlier because it could not leak and we didn't want you to be put in any position. of knowing about this. And off we went. Got on this plane, and I'm like, but all I have is one dress.
We had the whole thing planned out. We would arrive here with my family. My family came here to Palm Springs. They were to meet us here. The night before the wedding, we were all sitting here on this particular couch. This is where we did all the celebrating and took pictures and drank our champagne with my parents. And Vernon were here, my sister and my brother, and of course, a lot of the guys. Everyone was so nervous. Elvis was nervous. I mean, this was, my gosh, it was a big deal.
It's a dream now.
And it was really a joyous night. You know, we toasted champagne. It was a real happy time. We didn't spend that much time there.
We had 2 planes, Frank Sinatra's plane. We had another plane to carry in friends or, you know, whatever, or whoever couldn't ride on the smaller plane. They went in the second plane, and we did it so beautifully done. It was like stealth. You know, everyone leaving the house here, getting into the planes, going to Vegas. It was actually kind of exciting.
I love the secrecy of the whole thing. That was funny. It's almost like a TV show or something, you know. They said, now we're going to do this now. You people be here, and we're going to do that.
Anyway, that was a whirlwind because that was hide and go seek. You know, we arrive at one airport, and then we have to take a limo somewhere else, and then somebody meets us. It was just this cat and mouse, and we were just all bumping into each other like, oh, nope, go down this way, oh, nope, nope, nope. We're going to go here now, and oh, hide, everybody hide, get under the car.
And then we got into Vegas about 3 o'clock in the morning, and around, and I'm guessing around 4, we went to get our license, you know, to get married, and then went to the hotel and stayed and kind of rested around, you know, 4 before we went to Milton Prell's private suite to get married.
I remember having my own room in a whole big hotel. It's like, oh no, now what do I do? I'm all by myself in this big hotel room. And, you know, my little suitcase, I'm kind of just sitting at the end of the bed, you know, okay.
Your white gloves.
You know, my white gloves all ready to go.
But Elvis and I had about 3 or 4 hours to, you know, just to be alone. And I think because we had so much time, we became more nervous and more nervous.
I was shaking like a leaf.
I mean, we would start giggling and laughing, and then, you know, he'd joke, are you nervous? You know, and I go, yes, I'm nervous.
You came into the room and you said, Elvis wants to see you. He wants to talk to you. So he has something for you. And he sits down, and he said, here, sit down. So he goes, I have something for you. And, but as he's talking about it, he's like kind of really nervous. He's like, you know, he's looking, he goes, here's something, you know, for you for being maid of honor. And he said, I had it specially, you know, made for you. And then he takes it out, you know, and he gives it to him, and he said, I really like this. I think it's really unusual design, so I think that you'll like it too. Mm-hmm. So anyway, it was really kind of sweet because he was really nervous. I mean, here I was 13 years old. And
can you imagine what it was like when he put the ring on my finger? He's just rehearsing.
It's the moment I've waited for. Oh, sweet Lord, I will love you longer and forever. Promise me that you will leave me never.